I mentioned previously I was trans. I didn't go into what went into me figuring that out and what happened once I figured it out. But suffice to say, my parents were not very supportive of me at all. And I'm going to skip to the beginning of where the community really came into this. I was incredibly, incredibly depressed immediately after I graduated high school. I knew I was trans, but I knew I had months before I could seek any actual treatment for it. I was fighting with my parents almost every single day. I wasn't able to transition, use a new name, or use new pronouns at all. So I was pretending I was a different person day in and day out. And dealing with depression and gender dysphoria on top of that, it's like driving multiple daggers into your heart every single day. It's really a horrible experience that I would never wish upon my worst enemies. During that time, especially towards the end of the summer, I started self-harming. I started thinking about suicide. But all I can remember from those times is that my queer community around me really lifted me up. Like, my friends talked to me, they sheltered me, they helped, teach me how to put on makeup at a time when that was kind of my coping mechanism. They talked to me about self-harm and guided me to resources where I could gain HRT, which is hormone replacement therapy, which are, it's the medical treatment that I go through to help me transition. And especially one act of kindness that really stuck with me is that my school counselor, so by this point I'd graduated from high school, but my school counselor, who I'd seen previously in the year and knew about all this, he offered over that summer, because he knew that I didn't have an allowance and I didn't have a job, he allowed me to see him confidentially and for free whenever I was in crisis over that summer. And so upon bad fights with my father or upon instances of self-harm, I would call him up, and within 2 days I'd be in his office, and we'd talk through things. And that Mr. Kleckler, John Kleckler, incredible, incredible guy. Ultimately, the reason that I care so much about community, the reason that I fight so hard for everything that I believe in, is it all comes down to the fact that when I was in my time of greatest need, there were folks around me that fought for me, that supported me, and that gave me resources when I had none. And so when I look at community, I know that the greatest power we have is solidarity and standing with each other when others are down. And so that's why I fight so hard in politics. That's why I do advocacy. That's why, after this, I have a meeting with Todd Adams, VC, newly branded VC, and we're going to talk about some of the DU's recent decisions. Also, part of the reason why I fight so hard against the Pioneer moniker is because ultimately, what affects one of us affects us all. That's the main thing that I've learned.